This conference will now be recorded.
So when you're coming to constructors are going to be used when you want to be initialize the non-static variables while creation of the object. There are two type of constructors. One is default constructor where you don't have any parameters. By default NSVs will default NSV values will be considered for your object. Later you can modify it. And second one is parameter constructor. While creation of the object itself, you are going to be pass the parameters, nothing but local variables. These are two things we discussed. And right now what I'm showing is called attribute in classes. This is just for information purpose. May not be use it when you're going for data analytics, but maybe use it when you're coming to web data developments. So by using a Python like HTML, you can create your own web user interface. So those scenario it may be helpful. So that is the reason I'm just giving information. And when you're coming to practically, myself I not implemented not touched this part except theoretical, no practical I did it. So that is the reason I given just 2-3 slides only. So built-in attributes of a class. So when you're creating a class name and writing your entire program like a methods, constructors, or etc. By default, there are couple of attributes will be created. So built-in attributes in a class is nothing but for each and every class in Python, some attributes are going to be added automatically by Python interpreter. So when you use class, system automatically create 4 different attributes. The attributes which are added by Python interpreter are known as built-in attributes. So these attributes are created by Python by default. You can say inbuilt attributes. So the built-in attributes of a class are underscore underscore base underscore underscore. Every class by default extend object class and underscore underscore docs underscore underscore. For a print int doc strings, if no doc strings print none. So if you want to see what is a document string, you can use documents. And you want to see the object class, you can use underscore underscore base underscore 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 name underscore underscore for displaying the class name. So underscore underscore module underscore underscore for module information, how many modules you have, and module information if you want to see this one. Underscore underscore dict underscore underscore for about the dictionaries. So these are the 5 different attributes by default system will be created for every class. It's not for single class, for every class it will be created. Now let's see one by one. So program iterating for built-in attributes. Class test. So this is a class I'm creating, test class I'm creating, and document string is sample class for built-in attributes. So some documents information I given about the program, and I'm creating one static variable x equal to 10, and I'm creating my own module. It's not a constructor, it's a module. Df m1 underscore in bracket self print test.x. It is a correct one, test.x, or we need to give self.x. Which one is correct? Self.x or test.x? Do not think that I'm confusing you, but whatever you remember and whatever you feel you're right, just let me know. Self.x or test.x, which is right? It is a static variable x equal to 10 because it is created within the class and outside of the method. Am I confusing you?
Self.x, I believe.
Okay. What about Giri?
Self.x.
So again, I underlining this is a static variable. The reason is it's created after the within the class and outside of the method. For any static variable, you have to prefix with the class name. Nothing but test.x. And in case if it's a non-static variable, that means you created a variable like y equal to 10 within the class and within the method. Within the method, then you need to prefix with self.x or self.y. But right now the variable is a static variable. You always prefer to give, not prefer, it's a mandatory to give class.x. Class is a test, so test.x. If it's a non-static variable, within the method you are giving self dot variable name, and outside of the class, if you want to be call that variable, non-static variable, then object, nothing but t1 dot the variable name, non-static variable name. Hope you are getting the difference.
Yes, Samar.
So t1 equal to test. So the object is created and the variables, static variables are called initialized. Indirect address is stored in t1. So t1 dot m1. So I called m1 method with reference of object t1. So print the class name dot underscore underscore base underscore underscore. So when I call this one, in case the test object is referred by some other class, or that how I'm calling the test, that object name will be called. So right now the test is the independent class. It is not referred by another class. So the base is going to be an object class. So you can see class object. I'm calling this one. Print test dot underscore underscore doc underscore underscore. So it is going to be print your document string, nothing but sample class for built-in attributes. You can see the same color and third line blue color, sample class for built-in attributes. Print test dot underscore underscore name underscore underscore name of the classes. So you want to see what is the name of this class, you can see test. Amar, I just created only one class. I know which class I'm using. Right now you're talking about only one class, but who knows, going forward you are calling nested class, so class within the class. So those scenario you may require to know the classes, and especially when you're coming to web development, you may require to know all these things. But when you're coming to data analytics, you have an option to skip this concept. So print test dot underscore underscore module underscore underscore. So there is no, in case if you have submodules, then system is going to show the submodules within the module, another module. If you have another module, submodule, then it will be show, or the system is going to return underscore underscore main. You can see underscore underscore main. Only main modules are available, but there is no submodules. And if you want to see the dictionary, what are the dictionary you have it, the entire list of the class with attributes, the system is going to be show. You can see the last two options, test, object, and attributes, dictionary, everything system will show. So last 2-3 concepts variables you can see, one is a class, another one is an object. So those two are created and rest of the things inbuilt one. So generally those scenarios help you. So I just created 2 slides for giving an acknowledgement and awareness of this concept. Adding an attributes. So can I able to add an attribute or can I able to remove the attribute in the class means? We can do that. So adding an attribute to a class and removing an attribute from the class. Adding a static variable to the class and adding a non-static variable to the class, to the object. I want to do that. So class name a equal to 10. So it's created within the class and outside of the method. So it is a static variable and I'm creating my own method. It's not a constructor. Constructor always have underscore underscore init underscore underscore, but right now it's a method. I given my own name called display in bracket self dot x equal to 10. So self dot x, I'm giving in the sense it is within the class and within the method I'm created a new variable called x. So I am prefixing with self, non-static variable. Now I'm going to be call this object. I'm going to be refer this object with the help of I'm going to be refer this class with the reference of object s1. So s1 equal to sample. So my object is created. The address of the class is stored in s1, indirect address. Now when you say print a, it is a Now static variable, I'm going to prefix with sample class name, sample.a. It is going to be print. Now I want to add a new variable to the class with reference of this s1 object. So sample.b equal to 20. B is a static variable. Again, I'm creating one more static variable. And when I'm creating new static variable, there is no interaction with your object. I need to prefix with my class name. So sample.b. So system behave like a static variable, and it's going to be store a new variable called 20. So print b equal to sample.b. System is going to display 20. Now when you say s1.display, system is going to be initialize this method. Now I can able to access this method. So print x. So when you say x, this is going to be a non-static variable. When you want to print x value within the method and within the class, I'm going to prefix with self. The same x, if I want to be called outside of the class, then I need to prefix with the object name. So here my object is s1, so s1.x. You can see the outcome of 10. Now I want to create another non-static variable, so s1.y equal to 30. So y equal to s1.y. Is it clear, or any questions?
No, Umar.
Now just logical thinking, I'm creating another object s2 equal to sample s2 dot display. Now when you say print sample dot b, will it print or not? First question. My second question is, when I say print s1 s2 dot y, will it print or not? Just think logically. Here the concept is different. I just created jet, but my question is, if I say sample.b for s2 object, will it be print or not? And similarly, s2.y will be print or not? One is a static variable, the other one is a non-static variable.
No, Umar.
Both are single.
Both.
I don't think so. I explained long back, static variables are applied for all the objects and all the methods, and non-static variables are specific to the object. So for our understanding purpose, day 41, right? What happened to this system? So what my intention was, instead of giving s2.x, I want to give s2.y, right? Which is a non-static variable, s2.b, and similarly s2.y. This is my question, right?
Yes.
Now you can see which one is not showing, which one is showing. B is showing. Let me properly write it. So here this is B and this is Y. This is S2. Now which one is displayed? B is created when it was an S1 object, and I also can able to refer B for S2 object. So any static variable can be called to any object, but non-static variables are dependent on your object. So that is the reason you can see sample the attribute is not available for S2 object. Are you getting my point? So non-static variables are going to be dependent on your object, and static variables are independent to your object. Hope you're clear what I'm trying to say. So the same theoretical I given here. So I want to remove static variables A from the class. How can I remove? Means you can use a syntax called DL. So DL is going to be function which you're going to be use it to remove any static variable. So DL and static variable which you want to be removed with the prefix of class name. So class name dot variable name. So DL sample dot A. The system is going to remove the particular variable from the class. So going forward, how many number of objects you created, A will not be there. A will be removed. Similarly, when you want to remove a non-static variable, the same syntax del object name dot variable name, non-static variable name. So that variable is going to be removed. Similarly, if you want to remove an attribute from the class or removing attribute from the object, means del test dot a remove del t1 dot b. So del is the function name which you are going to be used to remove a variable name or attribute name. Clear or any questions?
Yes, sir.
So now we need to understand reference count. So I used to tell you x equal to 10, y equal to 10, and z equal to 10. So 10 is the variable. I'm talking about day 2 or day 3 class, almost 30 days or 40 days before classes. So that means the address after 10 is the only one unique and referring to 3 different variables. That means if I have x equal to 10, y equal to 10, z equal to 10. So 10 is a unique number which is referred to 3 different variables x, y, and z. It's not meaning that the memory is going to be allocated to x, y, and z separately. There will be only single address of the 10. So 10 might be stored in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 address. So this address is referring to x variable, y variable, and z variable. So right now, how many variables are referring to this address means 3 variables. So I will call a reference count equal to 3. Whenever I remove a variable called z, example, that means this 10 will not be referred. Now there are 2 variables are referring to 10 to the same address. So this address has hold the value of 10. So reference count will become as 2. Now for example, if I remove y variable, that means right now only one variable called x is referring to address 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, where 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hold the value of 10. So reference count become as 1. So reference count is going to tell you how many number of variables are referring to the same value or same address. So what exactly I'm trying to tell here is reference count is going to be tell you to decide whether to hold the value temporarily or permanently in your memory, or once reference count become as 0, that means even x equal to 10 has been become as 0. I removed the x variable. That means none of the variable are referring to the same address. Then the Python interpreter will remove the particular variable from the system, from the memory, and it will be sent to your garbage collector. It will not be in your memory, or none of the variable are referring, so I don't require that address to be there. So just remove that immediately. Are getting my point? So number of variables point into the same object will give the reference count. So this reference count and reference address will be maintained only when you have at least one or above number. Whenever the reference count become as 0, then address is not going to be no more with the memory. It will be wiped off. Then how to retrieve the data? For example, Amini decided I don't want to maintain the percentage column in one sheet, so she removed it. Some reason she removed one column. Now she wants to refer back to old data. For example, current salary is 1 lakh and revised salary is 1,50,000 for an employee. Nothing but 50% hike for every employee in organization. Now she updated the data and she saved back to the same variable. So old data has been moved. Now there is no address, so the data has gone. Are you getting my point? But some reason your company is coming back and asking, I want one more column. I want to see my old salary of an employee and a current new salary, revised salary. So can I able to see it? When there is no reference count, then it got moved. It went to trash. How to retrieve it? How to handle this scenario? Those scenario we'll discuss about garbage collector. So we'll see that one by one, step by step. Now, for example, you have class test t1 equal to test. When you use t1 equal to test, the object is created. The address of test class is saved in indirect address saved in t1. So here the variable t pointing to an object. So reference count equal to 1 because this class is pointing to getting a point from your t1 object. So delete t1 means it decreases to 1 count. So that means reference count will become a 0. So whenever any object reference count become 0, then the object automatically move to garbage collector. Whenever the object is going to deleted, then destructor is called. So constructor is for automation of the auto run from your class. Destructor is to do some other program to move to wipe off your memory, or you want to do some kind of performance, or you want to take a backup of your files. Those scenario destructors will be called. So constructor to run some program, destructor to run another program, different program. Whenever the reference count becomes 0, what you have to do is going to be decided by your destructor. So example 2. So class test t1 equal to test. So one object is created t1. Now t2 equal to t1. I'm not creating t2 equal to test of class name. I just referred t2 equal to t1. That means the address whatever I have it, I'm just taking a replica. So the address of t2 and t1 both are same. So when both are same, the address rc, nothing but reference count is going to be 2. So even if I remove one object, then the destructor will not be called. Only, for example, if I use delete t1, then destructor will not be called. The reason is rc become as 1. From the 2 to 1 it will become, so it will not be called. When the another object del t2 also deleted, then the rc become as 0. This scenario, the destructor is going to be called. So destructors calls only when rc equal to 0, but when it's reduced from one number to other number, destructors will never call. Destructors calls only when rc exactly equal to 0. Hope you're clear what I'm trying to say.
Yes, sir.
So what in by garbage collector? How to utilize this concept in the sense, it is a predefined program or an application or a backend thread. It's not a thread, it's a thread. Nothing but running a program backend, which is invoked by a Python interpreter. Whenever any object reference count becomes 0 at the time of execution of the program, then this garbage collector will come to the picture. Garbage collector removes the unused or unreferred objects from the memory location. Whenever in your program some values or some variables rc become as 0, then why to hold that values or variables or attributes? Just remove them. So this garbage collector will do that one in a backend. If any object reference count become as 0, then we call this object as unused or unreferred object. Not required. So reference count is equal to the number of reference variable point to the object. So example, t1 equal to test, t2 equal to t1, t3 equal to t1. So now reference count become as 3 because t1 equal to test class name is nothing but one indirect address is stored. So t1 is pointing to class. Now t2 equal to t1 is nothing but it's just a replica of your t1 photocopy. So the address of the t1 is also saved in t2 object. So reference count become as 2. Now t3 equal to t1 is nothing but the address of the t1 is stored in t3, so reference count become as 3. Now there are 3 different objects are pointing to class test. So here all 3 reference variables are stored in the address pointing to the same object called class name. So rc become as 3, which is equal to the number of reference variables is 3. So there are 3 reference variables t1, t2, t3. Number of references is not equal to number of objects. It's not mandatory that I have 3 different variables t1, t2, t3. That means I require to have 3 different objects. Even single object can have multiple reference variables. So delete t3. Now rc decreases by 1. So rc, since I removed one variable t3, so rc become as 2. So object is not removed. So test is not removed now. So delete t2, that means the reference count is coming down to by one more number. So rc become as 1. This scenario also object is not removed. And delete t1, so rc become as 0. So there are two concepts are working. One is object is removed and garbage collector and destructor program will be executed. Whenever any object is removed from the memory location, then destructor of that class will be executed automatically. So what is meant by destructor program? It's similar like your constructor program. So in constructor program, you have some code, some piece of code to be executed. In destructor program also, you're executing some piece of code. Maybe you can say print the variables which has rc equal to 0 is removed. So print, it is nothing but user friendly information which you're sharing. Or you want to be you can write a statement and save the variable information in some Excel, or you can share that variable along with the variables along with the values in some SQL code. So some execution you can do it automatically by using a destructor program. It is nothing but an archived file. So class test, I have some test class name pass. Nothing but if you feel that you don't have anything to be right and it should be an empty class, then you can use pass statement so that you will not get any error while executing the program. So t1 equal to test, object is created, rc is 1, print t1. So system is going to print the class. Delete t1, so rc become as 0, the garbage collector is called and object is removed. Print t1. Now system is going to show an error saying that t1 object is not there, it's no more, because it has been removed from the garbage collector. So when you use delete t1, so t1 object is removed. And similarly, when you say test also will be removed. Class sample pass, since I don't want to write lines of program, so just I used pass. So s1 equal to sample, s2 equal to sample. This scenario, I'm creating two different objects or two different variables with the same class, but addresses are different. The reason is I'm not writing s1 equal to sample, s2 equal to s1. If I use s2 equal to s1, then the same address reference count will be become as 2. But right now I am referring s1 object as a different id, s2 also different id. So what is happening here in the sense, address of the s1 is different, address of the s2 is different. So reference count for s1 is 1, reference count for s2 is going to be 1. If I delete s1, then the object is removed, s2 object is removed separately. Any questions? What one by garbage collector? What one by reference count?
All marks.
Are you comfortable to continue, or you want me to stop it?
Today we are done, kid. I am done.
Okay, fine. Let us continue tomorrow, and tomorrow meeting ID is different.
Uh,
That's
Okay.
perfect. I'll share